this is Ruth, Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're going for a ride and a chat. And kind of really what's on my mind is like, how do we make connections with other people? And a lot of times what I get is that when we're ready for that connection, it's going to come in. But I'm going to explain all more in just a second. So, one of the things is a lot of times people will tell me like, I think I'm ready for my next relationship, or I'm already ready for that new job. I'm ready for it now. And a lot of times when they tell me that, I will kind of like open their energy up, hopefully a little bit more, and kind of asking them like, I understand that you think you're ready for this. I totally understand that. My question back to you is there any unresolved issues at that workplace or anything else? Because if not, you're going to be ready for it, and it could possibly open a little bit, but you're not going to get the job. Someone else is going to get the job. So that's kind of the interesting part of this is, if you think you're ready for the next step, the next position, the next level, or whatever it is, when you think you're ready, that's the time to really look at it. And have you cleared all the energy? Have you kind of like done the karmic cleanse of like, what's going on? How is it going? How is this going to deal with things? Kind of all of that energy in there. It's because so many times people think that they're I'm complete with this job, I'm over this boss, I'm over whatever it is. And a lot of times when they get up there to it, they realize that like, I didn't get the job. I thought I was going to get the job. I thought I was supposed to get the job. I told everybody else that I was going to get the job, and then it comes down to it and it doesn't open for them, and they're kind of like, wait, so and so got the job, or whatever it is. And I'm like, that's what I was telling you. There is something that you need to make amends to or get in balance with before that new position opens up. So kind of like, where are you going with this? What is the thing that you really require doing or taking care of, or like yes, I learned that lesson? Because so many times that doesn't happen, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's because of this or it's because of that. You did not get it because you weren't complete with what was going on. So really take time when you kind of get that feeling like, I'm ready for this to come in. Is there unresolved resentments, or is there unsaid words, or whatever it is? And that doesn't mean that everything has to be said out, but it's one of those, have you learned your lesson with that position? Have you learned what you were supposed to learn in that position? Have you? Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I got it. I hear that so many times, like, oh yeah, sure. And then 2 years later, they're still in the same position. They're like, but Ruth, I was ready for this change. I get it. I totally get it. And you said you were ready, but there was something that was still holding you there. Otherwise, you would have changed. You would have gotten that new job, or you would have gotten the new position up, or the supervisor position, or whatever it is, you would have moved. So are you complete with that job? And the best way to kind of do it is to really think about all the lessons that you learned in that job. And kind of think of like going backwards, like, what did you learn yesterday, the day before, whatever it is, and kind of keep thinking about that energy of what did you learn, how did you learn it, all of those things, and keep moving forward in that energy of what else was going on, what else was kind of thing. It's like all of that stuff, because if you haven't cleared it up, if you haven't cleaned it up, it's not going to leave. You think you're ready for it, and you probably are getting really, really close. You're kind of like right on the edge, but it's not going to clear for you. It's not going to get out of your way until you clear everything up. So think about the life lessons, the things that you learn, like how to deal with someone with really hard energy, or someone who's really like one of those, whatever happens, and you're like, all of those things. Like, start writing those down, and as you do, is there something that kind of like you're going, man, I wish this would have gone easier, I wish this would have done this differently, or done, you know what I'm saying, like kind of like change this energy a little bit differently. So when you have those thoughts, those are the thoughts. Kind of like, okay, so let me rethink about this energy. And it's making noise on the screen. So kind of think about that energy of what could I have learned, or what should I have learned during this time frame, or what was the lesson, what was the life lesson. So let me like really get clear with that life lesson. What is the life lesson that I should have or could have learned during this time frame? How could I have learned this lesson easier, faster, understood it better? Whatever it is, that's kind of the important part. So many times people tell me, I'm ready for this, I'm ready for the new relationship, the new job, the new best friend, the new whatever. And it never happens. And it's because you're still stuck in that old energy that you haven't let go of for whatever reason. You haven't let go of it or listened to it, or kind of like there's another level of understanding that you could have come to, or a new level of something else that you could have done differently, or made this life lesson so much easier for yourself, but you didn't learn it. So what are those lessons? And like I said, list them down and think about each one. Like, what could I have learned differently? How could I have learned this differently? How could I have done this differently? Or, man, I really wish I'd have done this better. So maybe it's not necessarily going to the person's face and going like, I apologize, I did this. Sometimes it's just the energy of it. Like, wow, next time this happens, I'm going to apologize. If you can, by all means, definitely go and apologize, because that can really clear up energy fast and get you down the road. But it's one of those, if you can't, it's kind of open up to that energy. What else could you have learned? How else could you have done this? One of my clients a couple of years ago, she kind of did her boss wrong, and she felt like she knew what she was doing was wrong, but she kind of was like, I really need to do this for me, but she still felt apologetic for it. And so she was kind of like, how do I clear this up? He's passed. And I was like, that's kind of easier than doing it with a real life person. But really kind of like sending that person, like think of that person and sending them that energy of like, I apologize for this. I didn't realize, like I knew it was mean, but I didn't realize like how mean it was, or how this was going to affect you. I was more concerned about me. And that cleared up a lot of negative energy for her fairly quickly. And I was like, wow, that's really cool that it cleared up so much for her so quickly, and she was able to kind of like move forward again in this energy quite quickly. And I was like kind of impressed. I was like, wow, this is really clearing up faster than I thought it would. And that's really the energy in this, is kind of letting that energy like flow around you. What else could you have learned? How else could you have done this? And once you figure it out, everything else will clear out of your way, and you really will be ready for that new level, that new person, that new relationship, that new whatever it is. It'll be coming in even faster. Definitely. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.